Former President Biden is thanking supporters after announcing his prostate cancer diagnosis Sunday. In a post shared on social media Monday, the former president said, quote, "Cancer touches us all. Like so many of you, Jill and I learned that we are strongest in the broken places. Thank you for lifting us up with love and support." Biden's office said he has been diagnosed with an aggressive form of prostate cancer that has spread to his bones. Just last week, a spokesperson said a small nodule was found in the former president's prostate after he reported increasing urinary symptoms during a routine physical exam. Fin Gómez joins us now. He's a CBS News executive director of White House and politics coverage. Fin, what were we learning about the former president's diagnosis?
Yeah, Lindsay, CBS News was one of the first to report about that hospital visit from the former president last week in Philadelphia. And what was concerning to doctors, those close to Biden tell me, was that it was the small nodes that they were found on his prostate that led to more of an evaluation. And what we were being told is that's what led to this diagnosis that we were just hearing about over the last 24 hours. It's unclear exactly how long Biden has had this cancer. Its rapid spread, according to doctors, is attributed to it being an aggressive form of the disease. His character was characterized, Lindsay, as having a Gleason score of 9, which places him in grade group 5, the most severe category of prostate cancer, based on analysis of the cell samples under a microscope. So it just shows that it's more advanced and it's mesotized to his to bone. So actually, it's something very severe. Some oncologists have told us. But of course, the word from inside the president's closest team there is that his spirits are up, that he's doing well. And you saw the outpouring of support, Lindsay, for the former president from Republicans and Democrats, trying to encouraging him and his family during this tumultuous and trying time.
And amid that support, Finn, we are also hearing a lot of growing criticism over the last few days, including through the weekend when this news broke. Let's go ahead and listen to Vice President J.D. Vance, who spoke about this aboard Air Force Two earlier.
You know, that you can separate the desire for him to have the right health outcome with the recognition that whether it was doctors or whether there were staffers around the former president, I don't think he was able to do a good job for the American people. And that's not politics. That's not because I disagreed with him on policy. That's because I don't think that he was in good enough health.
What more are you hearing in terms of reaction?
Well, Lindsay, yeah, you've seen this bipartisan outpouring of well wishes from former President from President Trump to his former ticket mate Barack Obama, President Obama. Most Democrats and Republicans, some top operatives and party officials that I spoke to since the news broke, have expressed sympathy towards the former president and his family again over this difficult path ahead. But while there's been this outpouring of well wishes, there's also been an underlying current of questions from some corners as whether this latest news adds to the overall argument by some critics, some Republicans, even by some critical Democrats who say whether this makes the argument that he may not have been able to or should not have ran for re-election. That's coming up more. You are hearing about that if it fits that narrative. We know about the mental acuity charges. It's actually illustrated deeply within these new books that are coming out, the Tapper and the Thompson book that's coming out tomorrow, but also in some external reporting. But we are seeing questions about the mental acuity and also whether just overall looking at his health, whether the former president should have ran in 2024.
Okay,
Lindsay.
Fin Gómez, thank you.